Hello, folks. Welcome back to the inner sanctum of the Jacobs Estate, located on the northern edge of Wisconsin's driftless area. It's been far too long since I visited with you folks, and I have to thank my friend Missy for continuing to urge me to give this another go. Thanks go out to Missy. Um, I'm back because a while back I discovered, while doing some YouTube surfing, an Irish fellow tying northern pike flies with some sort of a synthetic material. It was difficult, considering his accent, to figure out exactly what he was talking about, but I did some keyboarding, some Googling, etc., and I discovered the material that he was talking about is called Kanekalon. That's a synthetic fiber that's used to create hair extensions or used in hair braiding and so on and so forth. It's available in a number of colors, is dirt cheap, and easy to work with, as it turns out. So curious, and even though I like to do my shopping locally as much as I can, I'm blessed to have a tremendous fly shop in River Falls, Wisconsin, near me. Yeah, that's Lund's Fly Shop. But I was seduced by the price and the possibility of trying something new and different. So I went online, went to the website of the enormous multi-tentacled corporate behemoth that takes its name from the river basin in the South American continent, and ordered up what I thought was going to be a single order of this stuff, in the way that it is. But a single order is a 3-pack. For very little money, you get 3 packs that look like this. This color is called white blonde, although there are any number of colors available. This stuff was called Easy Braid. And I think it's still Kanekalon. I think that there are probably 20 other trade names for the same thing. But with a 3-pack, I soon realized that was going to be, even if I had started in my teens, more than a lifetime supply for me. So I immediately gave away 1 pack. Then I had to set about finding a use for the remaining 2 packs and a good use for it. Well, both came up. Last summer, through the auspices of my good friend Tom, I had the opportunity to go to Elk Island Lodge on God's Lake in northern Manitoba to fish for northern pike. I don't think that the pike there can be considered selective or persnickety about what they eat, but you still need something that looks like a pike fly to me, or something that goes to the classic color combos. And I came up with this, which is a combination of Kanekalon, various flashes, and deer hair in that classic daredevil color combination. After I got back, I got intrigued enough by it that I created some other colors. I'm particularly enamored with this one, this blue over white model, and I also have here a chartreuse and white. I think those are probably all good pikey combinations. The red and white version, the only one I had at the time, worked very well in Manitoba. And again, you can say the fish aren't sophisticated, but it worked as well, if not better, than some of the commercial patterns. So I'll proceed to show you how I've tried to learn how to tie one of these. I'll leave a materials list in the comments section on YouTube. And in the meantime, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. See you soon. All right, we've got a B10S Gamakatsu hook in size 4/0 in the vise. We've got a long straight section of bucktail tied in, white bucktail from about the midsection of a nice bucktail. And now we've got several strands of Magnum Flashabou in pearl halved in on top of that, which we'll affix to get that tightened down a little bit. Spread out over about half the shank or so. We'll get that anchored, come forward to about that point, and we'll rag off the ends of the Flashabou by lifting up like so. So we've got that. And now our next step is going to be to tie in our first length of Kanekalon. What I found about this is that if you take about if you grab the Kanekalon hank up by the at its pivot point here at the halfway mark, and grab about a third of a pencil's width or so and begin to pull that, stretch that out. What you'll find is that it sort of tapers down near the end. So what we'll do is take that length and trim off the very tapered end. Then from that point, what I found that works reasonably well for a fly in this size is once we've trimmed off those ragged ends and squared it up to begin with, we'll cut lengths that are about 7, 5, and 3 inches in length. And the stuff from further up nearer that tie down point is going to be there's going to be a little bit more of it, which is what we want because we want to build bulk as we come forward. Now, the other thing that we have to do with this, now since we've cut it, the ends are perfectly blunt, which is not what we're looking for at all. What we can do is take our hands and sort of just spread this out and rag it out a little bit, so to sort of randomize it. And we don't have to make any effort for that to be particularly perfect, because by the time you have that and stretch it out and so on, it'll kind of randomize itself to some effect. We've got that looking pretty good right there. Then we're going to seek about the halfway point of that hank that we have in our hand, and then you see that it extends just to about to the tail. We're out here about the pivot point on this Renzetti vise, and we'll throw the thread over that, give it a pinch wrap, something like that. Then the next step is to make sure that we've got it reasonably, we can kind of spread that over the top to veil it a little bit. And it's the same thing. We want to divide this as close to evenly as we can get it on the bottom side of the hook, and we'll stretch that out, draw that up. At the end of this operation, we'll take a comb to this and fluff it out a little further. So we've got that done. It would be a good idea here to put some super glue here to hold our wraps, but we're going to dispense with that for the moment. You want as good a durability as you can get. Then we have our 5-inch length here, and it's the same story. You'll see that it's a little bit bulkier. That might be a little bit too bulky, so I'll farm out just a few fibers from that, and then we'll go through that same process where we just kind of rag out the ends as much as we can to a reasonable degree. Something like that, and then it's just going to be that same story over again. You can see how we're randomizing that, and we're at about the halfway point right in here, and we'll same story again, come back on that, and then it helps to have, if not a rotary vise, at least one with a rotating head, as it were, so that you can split this out as evenly as possible. And you can even take this 1/2 at a time here if you'd like. And get both halves down. Incidentally, if since this material is available in so many colors, you could do the baitfish style where you tie in relatively smaller amounts top and bottom in halves to, so you have a dark top, light bottom. You can do that as well. We're going to accomplish that through slightly different means. So now we've got we're ready for our third length, which is that 3-inch piece. Same story. That one we're going to leave even bulkier. Excuse the camera rattle here. Spread this out, fan it out a little bit. And what you want is just so you don't have too many just absolutely blunt edges. That looks pretty good there. And then again, we can try it from a little bit from the other end, and then measure to see that we're somewhere in half.
again and tie that in just ahead of that, and make sure that we're getting a decent split top to bottom here. I left the front part of the shank bare to begin with because I wanted kind of a stop point, and I'm actually a little bit farther forward than I might want to be, but we'll surmount that difficulty. Then the next thing we're going to do is I've got a length of black and silver Krystal flash here, several strands, and we'll do that too, where we'll kind of rag that out so that to randomize the ends a little bit. Then it'll be the same token, same method there, where we'll wrap that around the thread and kind of veil that out over the top too, as much as we can. We got to get this. We have to get tension on it before we can do that. There we are. Looking a little choppy down here, but we can take care of that with a trim of the scissors or something. I probably should have randomized that further. Then we're going to establish, well, excuse that little bit of a camera leg there. What I'm doing now is preparing a couple of those saddle feathers that are going to serve as lateral line imitations here. This is from that American Hackle from Whiting. Tie in one on this side, farm out another from the patch here. Relatively the same sort of dimensions to it. Measure its length, the one for the far side against the one that we've tied in on the near side. We're looking for something like that, and we'll break that off. Lay it out along there. All right, now we're ready for, we'll lay down kind of a thread base now. We won't be terribly careful about that, but we'll do something with that. What we're going to do now is take a length of from a bucktail that I've pre-cleaned. This is going to be the first part of the collar on the fly. And we'll cheat. We could roll this all the way around. We could start at we could do this several ways. We could put a clump on the top, clump on the bottom, or we could do the classic bite it down and roll it around. But I found that it's so bulky that the roll around is a little bit difficult to accomplish. So what we're going to do instead is kind of stab this through here, through its approximate middle, while hanging on and trying not to make it too big a mess. And we're about there. That's probably pretty good. We'll try to get a grasp on that. Gather that whole mess up. Take one soft wrap around it, around the entire bundle. Another soft wrap. And then pull hard. See if it wants to spin at all. See if it's pretty well anchored. Seems to be. And then we'll wind the thread through that. Further secure it, get it to stand up, kind of knife the thread down through there to help that bundle stand up. Push that backward, sweep it back, get the thread in front of it. best we can. Count them up to about the center. You may need one or two more lines. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to, just because it spins up better and is more hollow, I've got a clump of red deer belly hair here that will trim the fine points off. And grasp that at about its center point and get that affixed about right here. Maybe spin up our thread to try. GSP doesn't act like normal thread, but we can try. Same story, one time soft around it, another time soft, pull down hard, spin, jam back, and it looks as though we would need a third piece, which we have available to us here in just a second, as soon as I get it trimmed up. Might be a little ambitious. I may have grabbed a little more than I need, but with these materials, more is more. Not to contradict the architect's statement. So again, we'll center that up as best we can. Get the thread down a little bit. Throw the thread over it softly one time. Give it a pinch. Another soft wrap, hard, and spin. Pull through that, and then it would be a matter of getting some sort of a tool to kind of press that back out of the way. Then we can throw the thread over it a time or two, so on, and then it would just be a matter of finishing the fly off with a series of some whip finish turns and so on, cutting the thread off, and then lastly, we would be, after, it really helps with this to run this kind of hair under a tea kettle steam jet, or if you have like a travel iron device, one of those travel steamers, you could do that too. But then of course you're just taking a good sharp double-edged razor blade and doing the arc and the trimming, which I'm not going to do here because I don't want to make any bigger mess than I've already made on the floor. But I think you get the idea. And if you look up any bass bug video, deer hair bass bug video on the internet, you'll see people who can do that far better and far smoother and in a far more instructive manner than I can. But there we have the basics of that.